Welcome back to this episode of Random Life and your host is Salva. And today I want to talk about the topic that I have been asked a lot lately, which is what did you think would happen if you leave UN and then what actually happened, right? And I wanted to really dive into that topic so that we also understand what our imaginations or expectations of how we believe it will happen and then how actually happens. And then I also want to bring some examples from my clients as well so that you start looking at whatever your brain, especially when your brain is so fearful of what is to happen, uh, it will not happen that way. It's life, right? So that's why I thought that I would really dive into, okay, what I thought would happen and then what actually did happen. So before transitioning to being my own boss and doing the thing that I love, which is coaching, before doing that in 2019 and 2020, these are the years when I was getting prepared for leaving the UN, and I have decided that this is not what I want to be doing anymore. At that time, I had, I would say, two extremes, and that's I think what fear does to us is fear makes us look at things always from extreme perspectives, right? And the extreme perspectives were like this. So on the one hand, the great outcome that I believed would happen is that I would leave UN and then the all the people would line up to work with me as a coach, and I would have great practice and immediately doing what I love and um, having all the clients that I love, and then of course making the replicating the salary. So all of this, I believe, would happen immediately. That was the optimistic in me, and that's what I believed. That's what would happen. So that's on the great side of things. Now, I would also have a lot of drama about how things will not happen and what will happen, the worst case scenarios, right? And the worst case scenarios that uh, I believe that I would have is that I would not make any progress in what I do. I wouldn't make things work. I would end up without money, without job, without the things that I love, living under the bridge. I don't know why the bridge, but and the other thing is that I have never really had any connection with any bridge in my life. So therefore, it's not like I grew up in I don't know, in a place that is close to water or something that I could think of bridge. But somehow my brain, the worst case scenario seeking brain, would always say that I would end up living under the bridge homeless and I wouldn't have anyone. People who love me would all leave me, and then I would just tell my story of how I used to be a great official or a great international professional in UN, and then I ended up here, and I would just tell my fellow people who are also under the bridge, I would tell this story and then feel sorry about myself. So this is what my brain used to tell me. And of course, my brain would always tell me that it's a big stake. Stakes are so high. And are you sure this is what you're going to do? Right. So all of these are going to be the things that your brain will be telling you. And then, I mean, at least this is what I hear from my clients and, of course, also myself. And the things that I think is so interesting that many of my clients also experience this, which is our brain will be telling us that it will be too hard. It will be complicated. It will be taking a long time to get to the progress or success that we want to. I have never done this before. It won't work. All of this will happen, or that's what your brain will tell you. And also, that's something that we continue fearing as we transition, right? So these are the things that I thought would happen. So then I thought also that, okay, I will transition and then I will not, either I will have great success immediately or I will be homeless living under the bridge and then hoping to recover and then coming back to my yuan job. Hopefully they will let me and then they will tell me, you shouldn't have just left. You knew that it would be precarious. You knew that you can't live without yuan, right? So why did you leave? And then everyone would be shaming and humiliating me. And then I would just feel so bad about myself. And I also imagined that I would um, come back and work for a position that is a lot lower than what I used to have, and then feel bad even more. So this is what I thought would happen when I leave UN, right? So you can see how dramatic and grim it is. And once I left the UN, and then this is where the reality hit in, right? So what the reality actually was, and I think this is something that a lot of people also recognize and learn, is that the reality was that people were not lining up to work with me. Reality was also that people really didn't care much that I worked for UN anymore because many people didn't even know that that's what I was doing. And I keep telling the story of how I have sent out, I think, about 300 emails to people that I knew back in my career as a UN employee. I sent out an email to all of them saying that this is what I'm doing now. And I remember a few responding saying, "Oh, it's cute what you're doing," right? And that's the reality of what happened. And then I remember at the time thinking that, oh my God, this means that I will not have what I want. Definitely my case scenario is going to happen. It seems like that's about to happen already, and it's happening faster than I thought. And then, of course, the fear kicks in, right? And then fear, worry, anxiety, and all of those feelings kicks in. And that's the reality where I have then realized, oh my God, so I have never done this before, obviously, and I have no clue. But I also knew that what I really knew, I think, enough about myself to say that I would have all of this drama. I would have all of this fears. And also, I knew that I can overcome them. And I think that's a key part that kept me going is because no matter what my brain said about worst case scenarios, no matter what my brain said, oh, all of this, you will definitely go and live under the bridge. No matter all of those things that my brain kept telling me, that I kept working through coaching myself, getting coached, where I kept relying on the part of myself that said, but I can go through this. I can work through this and I can actually go to creating what I want. And I think that's the key um, element that I want really like bring to your attention, that no matter what the worst case scenario that your brain will offer, you can actually do something about it, meaning that you can keep working through them and keep continuing to go for what you want to. And I think a lot of people in that moment give in that moment they cave, and therefore they just feel like, oh my God, I need to just go back to what I know, right? So as the more I started going through these fears, through these worst case scenarios, through these confusion, worry, all of these things, the more I started realizing I was getting stronger and stronger to not be afraid of them, right? To not be afraid of them in a way that makes me go back to what I didn't want to go back to. And therefore, the more I realized that, oh, I'm actually capable of going through, I'm capable of going through these emotions, I'm capable of going through whatever my brain offers as a worst case scenario and continue going for what I want to, the more strength that I felt, the more I realized I can actually do the things that I really want to, which was working with people that I love, working on substantial, sustainable change in their lives that I really wanted. And of course, also being with my loved ones and getting paid, right? So these are the things that I believe that I could do. And then I started seeing more evidence and more evidence of that happening. And what then ended up happening actually is that not only that I was afraid of my emotions anymore, but rather I started actually committing myself to making this work in the way that I want to. I started also moving to Italy and in Kyrgyzstan. I actually bought a home after I transitioned, which is like bizarre, but okay, and the home is ready and finished, and now I have it. I also replicated my salary and beyond, which is, I'm assuming you already know, right? And I continue working from different countries and from different places, whether it's at home or whether it's in a restaurant. Yesterday I was working in a hotel. It was also very nice. And yeah, and while having that flexibility, I was also able to be with my loved ones. My mom is now getting treatment after her battling her cancer, and therefore I'm able to be there with her. And of course, I get to do the work that I really love, right? I get to do the work that deeply satisfies and fulfills me, and I get to help other people achieve their dreams and advocate for their dreams. And that's, I think, the biggest rewarding job that I can think of. And that's really what happened after being able to survive and go through those fears of different sorts. I realized that on the other side of things is all the things that I wanted, all the things that makes me feel even more uh, stronger to be able to do the work that is very purposeful, that is what I really love doing, especially with the people that I love doing, right? And of course, creating the results and outcomes that change people's lives. And that's really what I love doing. And that's why I really wanted to do this video to showcase what our brains will be saying in the beginning before we are leaving, all the extremes of great things and extremes of all the things that, excuse me, that we believe will go wrong. And then in those moments, it's very easy for us to say, to believe those fears. It's so easy for us to believe those horror stories that our brains will offer instead of keep going through to know that we have the ability to process and go through whatever the emotions. And what lies on the other side of the emotions is all the things that we want to, and we have the ability to build that. We have the ability to create that. And that's really what I want us to know at all times, no matter which way you are transitioning. And I think that's what I have learned on the other side now. All of the things that I have created now, I have learned not only to be afraid of any emotions, right? But I have also learned that I'm capable of overcoming whatever my brain believes is a challenge, is a hard thing, the scary thing. I'm capable of overcoming any of them. And I'm also capable of working on the impact that I really do care about. I'm also capable of building many other things outside of that UN context. I'm actually able, I mean, I'm capable of building life that is even way beyond better than what UN could ever offer me. And the reason why I'm able to compare the two is because I have experienced what amazing things UN offered me, and I'm forever grateful. But also, I can see that my life outside of UN offers me even like things that are beyond. my wildest imagination. And I'm so grateful for that as well. So that's why I want you to think about whenever you are transitioning and whenever your brain will be offering all the worst case scenarios, think of it as that is supposed to happen. Think of it as that's normal. That is part of how brain wants to protect you, and that's good. And also think of it as this is something that you can actually go through. This is something that you can process through, you can overcome and go to the other side where you are able to build all the things that your heart and desire, heart and soul is wanting. You are able to create that. And that's really the message of this video. And I would love to invite you to do this work with me in my group coaching. And the enrollment is going on. Last week it was the enrollment with the bonus, and this week enrollment without the bonus, where you are able to pay in installments as well. And of course, the enrollment will finish on 31st of March. And in this group coaching, where I really help you go through whatever the emotions that you can go through, create the roadmap of how we continue going for what we want to, and keeping that in mind that whatever the thing that we are deeply desiring are on the other side of our fears and worries and doubts and confusions. And I would love to get you through that phase to the other side so that you continue going for what you want to do in life, what impact you want to work on, um, while living with your loved ones or building families, and of course getting paid the way you want to. And that's really the goal that I'm helping my amazing humanitarians pursue on the other side. So message me for signing up, and in the meantime, have a beautiful week. Thank you.